Welcome back to my Creative Chronic Life, and today I am back with another reading review, and this time I am sharing the reading review for The Bond That Burns. I still haven't really had a chance to fill out all of the information, so I think what we will do is we will skip majority of the pages in between and really just go straight on to talk about actual books read. So I did a little small reading review for On the Wings of Blood. Today we've got The Bond That Burns, and then we've got The Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, which then kind of completes our January review. I'll do this in a separate video. We did talk a lot about kind of the thoughts and stuff, and I showcased where I purchased these items from. Next I used the kind of same prints to follow through because their books are connected. I did just add some gold in myself. This is a spoiler-free review. And what I thought was, previously I did like a different kind of over talking view, but I thought today I'd actually read the review that I've written in the notebook because I feel like it's quite an in-depth one. So this is my January reading review for 2026. The blurb for this book starts off. Now, just to remind you, if you are wanting to read this series and have no idea what it's about, book 2 does share a lot of information which I can't help but share even in the blurb itself. So if this is something that you're wanting to read and not read book 1 yet, or haven't got to the end of book 2, I don't specifically share spoilers, but it's already in the blurb and in the information, so maybe come back at a later date. So that's kind of your trigger / warning. So the blurb says, at Bloodwing Academy, blood is currency, but a dragon's legacy is priceless and as dangerous as fire. I thought surviving my first year in Bloodwing's deadly halls would be enough. I was wrong. I accidentally woke a dragon, a creature of myth, of death, of fire. Every Hybel house wants control over me and the dragon legacy I carry. But here's the truth. I have no control. I'm bluffing my way through every encounter, trying to keep everyone from realizing that I am not the one pulling the dragon's strings. And then there's Blake Drackharrow. I thought he was on my side. I thought I might even be able to trust him. He betrayed me, and now I am his only blood source. How messed up is that? In a place like Bloodwing, where power and survival are everything, this bond may well be the death of both of us unless I can find a way to end it. In this world of vampires, dragons, and lies, there are no happy endings, only legacies and the darkness it takes to make them. So that is the blurb in itself. So it gives you a lot of kind of insight into what book 1 was about. And I have just read that. I read this book in less than 24 hours from finishing book 1. I didn't realize it was like I didn't realize at the time when I read book 1 that it was a series, or that there was still yet at that time another book to read. So it was quite nice to kind of be left on a cliffhanger and then find there's book 2 and then read book 2. But then there was no book 3 at that point. Since this review is going to be shared, there is a book 3 which I'm yet to read yet. So I did finish this in 24 hours and I returned. I was so intrigued by the ending of the book that I immediately downloaded the second book on Kindle Unlimited, and from the very first chapter I was completely hooked. I genuinely did not expect where this story was going to take me. This book takes everything that worked in book 1 and amplifies it. The tension is higher, the emotional stakes are deeper, and the world feels even more dangerous. The characters are brilliantly written, and the twists and turns kept me constantly guessing. Even now, weeks after finishing the book, I still find myself thinking about it. Well, as a fact, it's actually months and I still am thinking about it. While this remains a spoiler-free review, I can say that the balance of action, yearning, betrayal, and emotional intensity is done incredibly well. There is definitely more spice in this book, but it never overshadows the plot. Instead, it adds to the tension and emotional pull of the story. The action scenes are gripping, the betrayals hit hard, and the character dynamics continue to evolve in really compelling ways. So that's what my initial thoughts were for kind of this book, and then I continue on. One thing I absolutely have to mention is the dragon element introduced in the book. The dragon is magnificent, powerful, awe-inspiring, and its presence adds a whole new layer to the story. I could talk about this for hours, but honestly, this is something I would rather readers experience for themselves. The ending of The Bond That Burns is phenomenal. It is bold, emotionally charged, and unforgettable. It left me desperate for the next installment and fully cemented in my love for this series. I have mentioned that this does have an audiobook version, which I personally felt was very outdated, but being that it's about what it's about, I feel like now in hindsight I probably should have given the audiobooks a good go. But that's kind of my initial reviews. Like I said, I picked up this artwork from Etsy, which I print and cut myself, and I just love the fact that it kind of follows through with the theme, and just the way that this kind of Archer and Olive notebook, it works really well. We then turn over. I decided that I wanted to add some more pictures, because I just thought they would go to waste and I probably wouldn't get a chance. So rating wise, I gave this a 6 stars. I gave The Bond That Burns 6 stars, and yes, I preferred it to book 1. Even though I loved book 1 as well. For me, a 6-star read is simple. If I read a book within 24 hours, if it completely immerses me in the world, and if I cannot stop thinking about it long after finishing, then it deserves more than 5 stars. The character, the twist, the emotional tension, and the sheer addictive nature of this book all earned that rating for me. I would absolutely recommend the Bloodwing Academy series and The Bond That Burns in the book that truly convinced me this series is something special. And I like the way I kind of used the page to be able to just add some elements in between. I started it on the 17th of the 1st, finished it on the 18th, and when I've written loved, I've written mind blown, because I was, and I still am. Like I said, I've not had the opportunity to read book 3 because I'm in the middle of the Filthy Rich Vampire series, and I've got to get to the end. Like, I'm on book 3 now, and I think there's one more, and I really need to know what's going on. So as soon as that's done, I'll be doing this. Oh, have I lost a star? I have lost a star. I will have to add that one in a moment. And then we've just got some little quotes. It says, "For the first time in a long time, I fell asleep believing that maybe, just maybe, I was capable of something better because of her." And then we have, "Stop thinking like a victim. We always have more power than we think. Now use yours." And we just got some information. It says book series, book 2, 433 pages, and I read it on Kindle Unlimited, and it's an audiobook. I did read a little bit, like I said, but it wasn't for me. And I just think this was absolutely brilliant. And I hope that my kind of spoiler-free review gives you that, and these pictures kind of do justice. I hope that when you read this book you feel the same way in terms of like the dragons, the feels, the way that it's portrayed and come across. When I found these characters on Etsy, it just made me think of this book, because sometimes I like to have clip art, other times I just like to write down reviews, and I don't mind adding pictures or maybe just some washi. But this for me was like, yep, I need this, definitely 100%. Etsy artwork is definitely something that I need, and I think it would just make this reading review 100% better. So that is the end of this reading review. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below, and of course I will leave the blog post kind of review, which is a little bit more in depth than this one. This is quite quick, I find. So if you want a more in-depth review that still is spoiler free, and I talk about different things as well in there, then I will leave the link for you in the description box below, because I'm 99.9% sure I've already shared it. So you can always go ahead and read that over on my website at www.mycreativechroniclife.co.uk. and of course I always do this in short form as well. So I do have my own TikTok, well, it's like a book talk, isn't it? And it's MCCL Book Talk. So if you can follow me over there too, you get like little snippets of what I thought, just little things that I talk about, and they're more probably, I wouldn't say they are more present, whereas these are more present now. And blog posts always come first, then long format, then short format. So if you're wanting to follow kind of what I'm reading at the moment, I think I'm on book 16 of the year so far. I only got 3 read in January, so we've got 1 more book to review, and then that'll be the end of January. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.